Hello and welcome to my comparison video between the 2nd edition Slaves to Darkness Battletome right here and the 3rd edition Slaves to Darkness Battletome here. One thing I will say is, firstly, the 2nd edition will always appear on the left side of this video and the 3rd edition will appear on the right. There are a few differences in layouts and units and the number of pages. I always thought that the 2nd edition Battletome was quite chunky. It's 120 pages, decent size. It is my joint largest army for Age of Sigmar alongside Gloomspite Gitz. The 3rd edition builds on that, has 128 pages. So again, it's still quite chunky. My 2nd edition here on the left is just the standard edition. On the right, the 3rd edition is the Battletome that was included in the Slaves to Darkness Army Set box, which came out, I think, November of 2022. Of course, there is a 3rd edition standard version and a 3rd edition special edition of the book. So there's like 3 versions of the same book out there. So another important note to make is that the Slaves to Darkness Battletomes come with a code at the back, so that unlocks the digital version of the Battletome in the app. 2nd edition didn't have those. Furthermore, if you do pick up the special edition version, then at the front it will tell you what number it is. I think they make 500. My Gloomspite Gitz is numbered 500. So we'll start off with the inside cover, which is different. The 3rd edition, they've got this brand new artwork that was plastered on the Slaves to Darkness Army Set box. Obviously, because it's a kind of special edition, I guess, we've also got a page keeper there, a page ribbon. Then the next page, we have a little bit of a foreword. The contents, I very much prefer this picture for the 2nd edition to go with the contents. The contents, you've got in the 2nd edition Path to Glory straight away, whereas in the 3rd edition that starts a little bit later on. You've also got Hosts of Damnation and Annals of Ruin, the Diabolic Glory, Warriors of the Gods, Armies of Darkness, Allegiance abilities. Then you've got Path to Glory, so it's kind of like the Path to Glory and then Path to Glory. Warscrolls and Pitch Battle Reports. Warscrolls, it goes from page 84 to 118. The Warscrolls in 3rd edition go from 92 to 126. It's similar number of Warscrolls, 34 to 34, but there are bigger changes afoot. So let's start off with the Dread Hosts March in 3rd. Which is similar kind of layout to the Hordes of Chaos. And straight after the Dread Host March, you've got the lovely artwork right here that's on the Army Set box. Here you've got the Varangard and Archaon in the background. Path to Glory and To Walk a Bleak Path, same art there. The page furniture is a little bit different. If anything, I probably prefer the older page furniture. A bit controversial, but you know, I like the chains, I like this demon thing at the top on both sides, whereas this doesn't get that. It just gets this kind of 8-pointed star, I think it is, or undivided icon. We've got the Conquerors of the Realms and then the Dark Pantheon. So the Dark Pantheon looks at the different forces of chaos and the different gods. You've got the Triumphs of the Everchosen, then you've got the Chaos Gods for 2nd, a New Upheaval. You've got the Pantheons there for 2nd, so it's very similar. Then you've got the Realms in Ruin. You've got the Soul Wars. You've got the Crux of History. So this is where you've got the map in 3rd. You've got Hosts of Damnation and Lord Infernal's Reavers. The Annals of Ruin, both the same on both same pages. Very similar layout. It's written differently though. And that goes on for 4 pages or so. You've got Archaon the Everchosen, so they focus on Archaon there, whereas on the 3rd you've got To Muster the Horde, so you've got the Lord Infernal's Reavers, the Damned Legions, but the second edition goes through the different units. So after Archaon, you've got the Varangard. But then on third edition, you've got Archaon the Ever-Chosen, with exactly the same artwork there. After the Varangard, you've got Knight of the Fifth Circle, and then Warriors of the Dark Tribes, whereas in the third edition you have Be'lakor the Dark Master. Obviously we didn't have Be'lakor at all. I mean, obviously when this second edition book came out, we did have Be'lakor, but it was a really old model. We've now got a newer one, and adding on to Be'lakor, we've got Eternus, Blade of the First Prince, so a little bit about him. You've got the Champions of the Chaos Tribes, so now we're level on level here. You've got Lords of Dark Oath, Exalted Heroes, Chaos Lords and War Shrines. Similar kind of layout in the second edition. Masters of the Dark Art, so it talks about sorcerers and gaunt summoners, whereas the second, many gifts of Godblade, so a little bit of a story there, rather than carrying on with the units. But then they talk about Masters of Chaos Magic, such as the Sorcerer Lords, Gaunt Summoners, and then you've got the Godsworn Hunt and the Magic of the Dark Gods. The third edition goes on to the Chaos Warriors, but look, you've got the Weight of Sacrifice, so another like kind of story thing. And here in second edition, we've got the Lost and the Damned, Chaos Warriors, Chosen, Chaos Knights, Charioteers of Chaos, and it's a similar layout there for third. Then they talk about Marauders, Horsemen, Furies, War Shrines, Raptorics, whereas third goes on to the Ogroids Unleashed, so the Ogroid Theridons and the Myrmidons. In second, they talk about Be'lakor. We've already seen Be'lakor in this. Demon Princes, Soul Grinders, Slaughter Beast, Chaos Spawn, whereas in the third, we've got Demon Princes, Chaos Spawn, Soul Grinder. So very, very similar layout there with both of those. And then another kind of story in second. It breaks these up with these stories, which I'm not sure is the best way to go about it. But then you've got the Denzians of the 8 points, and on third edition they call it the Warbands of the 8 points, where they go through every single warband. And I think that's much nicer laid out in the third edition book. You've got each one with some text with them. But what's also included in these warbands is the Fomeroid Crusher, the Mindstealer Sphinx, those kind of things. So that's all included. And these are in second, but I just much prefer the layout with the little picture. Then you've got a nice picture in second with Archaon and some forces. In third, you've got the Hordes of Chaos, so big focus on Eternus, and you've got a picture there of the Demon Prince, brand new Demon Prince. On the next page, you've got Diabolic Glory and a look at the new miniatures when they were released, you know, in the Start Collecting set. In the third edition, big focus on Be'lakor and the brand new Demon Prince. And of course, it showcases the Demon Prince's various different head options as well. You've got a Khorne one, Slaanesh, Tzeentch and Nurgle. I'm not quite sure what I'll do for the 40k Demon Prince. I'm kind of going towards the Khorne one, so I can at least have a Khorne Demon Prince for World Eaters. But yeah, seeing as I've got a Demon Prince for Nurgle. The next page, in the second edition, they've got lovely art of the warriors in the Start Collecting set and Archaon. And then you've got, in third edition, the Exalted Hero, brand new hero, the Old Sorcerer and the Gaunt Summoner, along with some of their newer models as well, such as the Chosen and the Exalted Champion in third. A look at some of the mounts, which are pretty cool. So you've got everything from the Karkadrak to the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, Varangard and a Doom Knight, whereas second they've got the Varangard and the Gaunt Summoner, along with some Marauders and a Demon Prince. There's Be'lakor, the old Be'lakor. In third, they look at the brand new Chaos Warriors there, the multi-part kit. Because some time has passed, in third edition they also show you the different warbands, which is not something they did in the second edition. So that's great. Now we've got a much more wholesome force of them, and also the new Ogroid Theridons. And they didn't leave out the Mindstealer Sphinx and the Fomeroid Crusher, which there was a big focus on those two miniatures in second edition because they were new. Then we've got this lovely picture there of the Forces of Chaos, which is fine, the Slaves to Darkness, and then it goes into the painting guide. Whereas this is something that I think the 3rd edition Battletomes have really missed out on, and that's a big picture of a big army that's all numbered. And even if it was the same picture, I mean, they could have tweaked it and put the Chosen in there and other kind of new units. I would have loved to have seen a big new Slaves to Darkness army in the 3rd edition book, all numbered with the new units, because, you know, they do show the new units in here, like Bellicor and things. Would have been nice to see a big army with Bellicor at the head of it. Painting guide though, it looks exactly the same, except for, you know, in 2nd edition they had Warhammer TV, in 3rd edition they've got a little thumbnail that says painting guides, but it's exactly the same painting guide for these 4 pages. I think they could do more painting guides in these books. You've got the Armies of Darkness. This is, and then 2nd edition, it's the same, but then you've got Allegiance abilities, and you have that in 3rd on the next page. In 2nd though, you've got the spell lore for the Lore of the Damned, whereas in 3rd you've got enhancements, artifacts of power, spell laws there. You've also got ensorcelled banners, whereas 2nd goes through some more artifacts for different sort of factions, Kabbalists, despoilers, and here you've got the Damn Legions as well. So that's better layout, I think, to have the Damn Legions and to have their little abilities than in 2nd. You've got Host of the Everchosen, and then a battle plan, and then Path to Glory. So we're on Path to Glory here on 3rd edition. I prefer the layout of this and the coloration. You've got the veteran abilities, and then you've got the warband tables, territories, heroic upgrades. So Path to Glory has a fair few more, and you've even got a battle plan, Ritual of Corruption, and Chaos Horde. So the one thing I said in the Gloomspite Gits comparison video is I do prefer the old style of these War Scrolls battalions. They just seem easier to read, easier to kind of sort out, whereas these, it's black, and that's quite, whereas these, it's black and it's white on black, and I would have preferred black on white, I guess. So it's not as kind of straightforward to read it through as the 2nd edition, I think, anyway. Because before you had the Chaos Horde War Scroll Battalion, and then you had all of these next to it, whereas the newer version, you've got the Chaos Horde and you've got the War Scroll Battalion, but then you've got Godsworn Champions of Ruin, and it gives you organisation and so on. You kind of got all of those, but really small underneath it. You've also got these different war bands here, the Blood Marked, the Fate Sworn, and the Plague Touched. Then it goes into matched play, whereas the 2nd edition carries on with those. So although you're squeezing kind of 4 pages into just 2, I preferred the layout of that one before. And then they go into the War Scroll straight away, whereas here we've got match play, we've got core battalions, grand strategies, and then we've got the War Scrolls. And like I said in the Gloomspite Gits book, much prefer the layout in 3rd edition. And look at that. I mean, that is, I wouldn't change anything about that layout. It's I would maybe probably put the font a little bit larger. It seems to be the same size font, but yeah, that's the only thing I would change. It's absolutely stunning. You know, I really do like, I would have liked his wings to go over the font maybe. Yeah, but it'd probably block the font out or something, and I guess they can only fit so much of like the largest plastic kit they've got. But I like the colouring, I like the just the way it's laid out, and I like the fact that he gets his own, you know, page just of a picture of him, which is fantastic. In terms of like the changes, he still moves 14 inches. He's got more wounds though at 25. He's still 10 bravery. He's got lots and lots of his rules are still intact, such as his 5+ ward save. and unmodified ward rolls. And whenever he gets a 6, you pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of him suffers more mortal wound. So when he does save, yeah, that happens. Then you've got the Demon Prince, whereas before they kept with the Varangard. And actually, I would have preferred if they had that swapped over to the Varangard right next to Archaon. It's a shame that they now get the back seat and then you have the Demon Prince there. I sort of understand it because Demon Prince is a leader, but at the same time, we've got Be'lakor and Eternus, and they go hand to hand with each other. Whereas here, you don't even get the Demon Prince for quite some time. It goes on to a Gaunt Summoner, and then a Chaos Lord on Manticore, a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, a Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, Chaos Lord on Karkadrak. So we don't get that Demon Prince for quite some time. You've got the Demon Prince and the Varangard, you've got the Be'lakor, Eternus in third, you've got the Gaunt Summoner on the Disc of Tzeentch, followed by the Gaunt Summoner there, and then a Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, followed by a Chaos Lord on Manticore. I think they could have swapped them around. Chaos Sorcerer Lord, I probably would have had the Chaos Sorcerer Lord near the Gaunt Summoners, not that far deep in the book. Then you've got a Chaos Lord on Karkadrak. Again, I would have had the Chaos Lord on Karkadrak. I would have had the Manticore, the Karkadrak, and then the one on Demonic Mount. Also, where are the dragons? I'd love to see, you know, Warhammer Fantasy, you used to have some dragons. I'd love to see more dragons in Age of Sigmar. It'd be so cool. But then you've got the Chaos Lord and then the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Again, I think they could have moved them around, because here you've got Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, and then on a Karkadrak, Lord and Sorcerer Lord. So I'm not a big fan of the second edition layout either. Then you've got an Exalted Hero of Chaos, which is right here. This is the new Exalted Hero of Chaos. Wasn't a big fan of the old one at all, but you've got him here, and then you've got the Ogroid Myrmidon, and then followed by the Ogroid Theridon. So I like the layout of 3rd edition where they've got them quite close together. And for some reason in 2nd edition, you've got Ogroid Myrmidon and then Be'lakor, just randomly there. In 3rd edition, you've then got the Chaos War Shrine, whereas the 2nd, you follows up with a Demon Prince, but then you've got the Chariot and the Gore Beast Chariot, and then you've got Theda Skullscryer, so you've got some of the War Scrolls for the Dark Oath. But I like how all of them are on sort of 2 pages. You've got Thedra, Godsworn Hunt, Dark Oath War Queen, and Dark Oath Chieftain. And then it goes into the Chaos Chosen. Not massive fan why it's in that layout, but yeah. In 2nd edition, I'd say it's even worse, because you've got the War Shrine, you go straight from the War Shrine to the Chosen. You've got the Spawn, the Chariots, and the Gorebeast Chariot, so that's all over the place. Whereas this follows the Chosen to the Spawn, and then we're into Chaos Warriors and Knights. That's a bit of an odd layout. I probably would have put Knights ahead of that, or even have them in their own sections like Gloomspite Gitz did, where you would have a Chaos Lord and then the Knights and the Warriors. But I understand why they tried to keep all the leaders at the front of the book. In 3rd edition, after the Knights, you've got the Chaos Marauder Horsemen and the Marauders. That's fine. In 2nd edition, you had the Knights and the Warriors kind of on 2 separate pages for themselves. This is much more condensed, so although it's got more pages, the 3rd edition book, you've got 4 War Scrolls there, whereas in 2nd edition, that would take up 4 pages. You know, you've got a War Scroll per page, well, except for that page, obviously. Then after the Marauder Horseman, you've got the Mutalith Vortex Beast, which you don't get on this until after the Soul Grinder and Slaughter Brute, which they get their own separate page in 3rd edition. And you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I do like the imagery of the model overstepping the War Scroll. I like it the least where it's just the War Scroll or data sheet, I guess, and that's it. I would always like a picture. If they can't do a full picture of the model like in battle, then this is sort of the next best thing. And I much prefer this than having like a little thumbnail in the corner. Then you've got the Slaughter Brute, whereas the second focuses on all the different warbands, which third then goes onto it. You've got a new miniature here, this Centurion Marshal, which I have recently unboxed and reviewed. Then you've got the Splintered Fang and the Corvus Cabal. You've got the Unmade and the Cypher Lords. You've got the Signs of the Flame, Spire Tyrants, Untamed Beasts and Iron Golem. And yeah, in second edition it goes through those, and then finally it ends with the Mindstealer Sphinx and the Fomeroid Crusher, which is similar to third edition. The third edition actually ends with Zarshia Bittersoul, one of the new sorcerers, but you've got the Fomeroid Crusher and the Mindstealer Sphinx, and you've got Kagra's Ravagers. So a couple of new miniatures there that we didn't get in second, and then you've got the endless spells such as the Eightfold Doom Sigil, the Realm Scourge Rupture, and the Darkfire Demon Rift, which we didn't get pictures of in the second edition, but we got a picture of this endless spell war scroll here for all of them. Whereas these, you get them individually. Then you've got the pitch battle reports as usual, and which go on to 2 pages, and that's it. So as you can see, similar, there is a little bit of copy and paste in places, but to me this new third edition book feels much more fuller. It feels like there's so much more than there was before, and they're getting there with the miniatures. I think I've said it in the army set review for all of the Slaves to Darkness releases. They just need a few more units to be upgraded, because some of them are definitely getting on a bit. Those Marauders and also the Chariots and things, would be great to see some miniatures from them, and some new minis as well, really. But what do you guys think of the third edition book? It'd be interesting to know your thoughts and opinions. Please do put them down below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Archaon Protects.